Hi guys, it's been 2 years since I've posted on this channel, and if you haven't noticed already, my header has changed, my bio has changed, and I'm going to tell you where I've been these past 2 years. First and foremost, I'd like to say if you're returning, thank you. If you're not, hi, my name is Paige. I'm 26 years old and I am a follower of Christ, and I am dedicating this channel to him. So I'm going to tell you my testimony as well as I can, and then I'm going to tell you where I've been for the past 2 years and how I've been. So let's get into it. So if you see me looking down, I have written down my testimony to kind of read it to you guys and put it into words and thoughts to, not sound like an idiot pretty much. So I grew up in a very Christian household. I was at the Salvation Army almost 7 days a week. Loved it as a kid. Even went to their church camp as a kid. And I'd say though, once I hit 15 or 16, I lost my great grandma. Natural causes. She was 95 years old, so I got blessed to have her that long in my life. And it was my first family death. I had never been to a funeral before besides my best friend who I lost in 5th grade, rest her soul. And it was just my first time seeing anyone in a casket, and it was really, really hard for me because I had never experienced it before. But what hit me harder was what she had told my dad before she passed, a dying wish, if you will. And she said, make sure my family knows Jesus. And that's powerful, because that's the last thing you're leaving with your family before you go see Jesus. And that was her final wish, was to take care of each other and to make sure my family knows Jesus. And that has stuck with me for years, even when I wasn't even following Christ. We're gonna go to the rest of my high school career, because when she died, I was a freshman in high school, and that really kind of shook me and kind of made it hard to really focus in school. But future Paige popping in. I'm editing this video right now, and I just want to apologize for the lighting in this video. I was sitting right here in front of my window and I didn't realize how bright it was, so I'm sorry in advance. Enjoy the rest of the video. Let's talk about my senior year. So my senior year, I went to an alternative school here where I live, and I had gotten back with my boyfriend that I was with in my freshman year, because I thought, hey, 4 years later, he's matured. And so I had luckily finished all of my classes online, first in my class actually, and I decided, hey, I want to hang out with him and kind of celebrate, not in like a sexual way, but he took it that way, and he sexually harassed me there. And so I'm not going to get into details with that. I'd rather not. But that really shook me to my core, because I'm out here saying I'm a Christian, but I'm doing something completely opposite of what a Christian should be doing, especially as a teenager. And so that rocked me, and it took me 4 years to even realize it was sexual harassment / assault what he did. So, but thankfully I still graduated, and God pulled me through that, even though I wasn't believing in him at the time, but I knew something was carrying me. So let's fast forward 4 more years to 2019, and that year was terrible for me. It was one of the worst years of my life thus far. I saw my parents crumble in front of my face, and my mom left. My mom left via text message, and kind of rocked my world, because this woman had been in my life since I was 2. She was not my biological mother, but she stood up and took care of me like I was hers. When she left, I would like to argue with people who say you can't turn off your emotions. You very much can, because in that moment, that's exactly what I did. I did not care about Jesus. I did not care about going to church, being around people. I shut off any and every emotion I could when it came to being a Christian or even just being a good person at the time, because I was terrible to a lot of people around me, including family and my now husband. So shortly after she left, she got a lot of choice words from me, and I ripped anything that had to do with her, and it was a really hard year. And fast forward to that summer, I remember only bits and pieces. Here's why: because I was heavily drinking. I was going out with my cousin to bars, and at the time I was just not worried about God at the time, and I even went as far as to have 2 one-night stands. And if you know me, that was not me as a person at all. I was taught differently about how sex is a soul connection, and it really is. And so when all of that was happening, I had also relapsed on self-harm. And there was one night where I was self-harming. My dad was asleep, my brother was asleep downstairs, and I did not want to stop at that point in time. And so I ended up calling our therapist, which was also a preacher at the church we used to go to, and I was like, hey, not okay, I need to be in therapy. And he gracefully took me and nurtured me back to a really good mental state and walked me through what could possibly be wrong with me, and just kind of made me realize that I got to be responsible to myself and for myself. And I was with him. His name's Roger. I'm sure I'll send this to him at some point, so I want to thank him for the amazing 4 years that I had with him, because it literally transformed my life into something I never thought I could be mentally. And so fast forward to 2022, we're married for a year, and we decide, hey, let's try to have a baby. And you know, growing up in a super Christian household, at least for some women, maybe even men, I don't really know, you get told, hey, it takes one time of having sex and you can get pregnant. So in my mind, I was like, oh cool, this is gonna be a breeze, I'm gonna have a baby first try, this is gonna be awesome. I could not be more wrong because a year went by and we had absolutely no luck. And it really tore me down and put me back into a really dark spot, to the point where I literally sat my husband down and I was like, hey, I don't want to be here. I don't want to live. I don't feel like I have worth in living, because as a society, you get told a woman is only good for certain things, and that is having children and having sex with people. So at that time, I was like, if I can't produce a child for my husband, I don't need to be here. And like, imagine that conversation with the love of your life sitting and talking to you about how they don't want to live. Ironically, the day after I had that conversation with my husband, I had forgotten I saved this sermon by Sarah Jakes Roberts called Girl Get Up, because I had heard some of it as an audio on TikTok going around, and I was like, something in me was like, hey, you need to watch that. You need to listen to what she's gonna say. And so I clicked it, I gave it my undivided attention, and it broke me in the best way possible. She shares a story from Isaiah talking about the girl who was sick, and her parents had thought she had died, but she was sleeping. She did die, but Jesus, I love that he says she is not dead but sleeping. And so he also told her, arise and get up. It's a wonderful story, and it just kind of represents who I was for almost 2 years of just being dead and not caring. And so when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's definitely me. In that day, in this very room, in this very bed, I rededicated my life to Christ, and it was the best thing I could ever do for myself. And so here I am a year later, still not having any luck on the fertility side, but as hard as that is, I still believe that even if I go see a doctor and they tell me I can never have kids, God is going to tell me something different. God has a plan for my womb. Even if he doesn't, I trust whatever he has planned for my life. And so the updates on me as far as how I've been doing, I'm so good. I found a church family thanks to our family friend Ryan. Me and him were texting because I had found this pastor in North Carolina that I really liked, and I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna move. I think I'm gonna move and go to this church because I'm not having any luck finding a church family here that hasn't stabbed me in the back one way or the other. And it was church hurt, really. And he was like, wait, I want you to come try my church, and then if you don't like it, move. Do what you gotta do. And so he invited me to Graceway, and it was the best decision I've ever made, starting to go online. And then I was like, okay, I'm tired of going online, so I started going in person. And they're some of the most genuinely nice people I have ever met. Don't mind the work trucks you're hearing. They're so nice. They're not like the, oh, hi, how are you? Yeah, great. And then never talk to you the rest of the week. So I'm really thankful that God guided him to tell me to go there. And I've not been more grateful for that, because they even have a program where they can give you therapy, and I'm going through that too. And it's just, I've seen how this church is moving my family to be better in Christ. And that's one of the most amazing things I've gotten to witness this year. And that's because back in August, they have a thing called 21 Days of Prayer, and it's before the school year starts, where you literally take 21 days to pray as a church family. And they had walls on walls on walls of post-it notes of people's prayer requests, of people's struggles that they wanted prayed over. And when I tell you, it moved me to tears, because it showed me that I am not the only one struggling. And it was really good to know that I'm not alone in my walk, and I'm not alone in having doubts and stuff. And in that moment, they handed us these little prayer books. And this is not mine, this is actually my husband, so I'm not going to show what's inside because that's very personal. But in the back of this, they have a page where you can write down who you want to pray for. And in mine, I decided to write down my brother and his wife, my sister-in-law's parents, my brother and his wife. I have two brothers, so both of my brothers, their wives, her parents, and just my family in general. I wanted Jesus to radically move in my family again, because that's what my great-grandma wanted for us. And so not even a few months later, my brother starts going to an online church, and then he's like, hey, I'm going to try to go to Graceway. And he's been going ever since. And I've been going to their house and staying to go to church in the morning like a little kid. And I have loved every minute of it, because I'm seeing God radically change my family's life right in front of my face. And to any non-believers possibly watching this, I want to tell you, you are never ever too far from God's love. He loves you. He is waiting for you to come home. He is waiting for you with open arms. My favorite saying, which is from the scriptures, but it's, he leaves the 99 for the one, which means he's going to chase after that one until they're ready to come home. And when I tell you, his goodness has been running after me for years and watching over me, it's been the most amazing feeling to actually feel his presence and to be able to talk to a father that actually listens to me and listens to my prayer requests and does it. He listens. And so all in all, I felt the nudge today to dedicate this YouTube channel to him and sharing the good news of Jesus and being able to be loud and proud of my faith. And I'm very anxious about it, but Jesus is going to make this something I can use for the rest of my life. And so that is all of my updates for you guys. This channel is going to be dedicated to spreading the gospel and spreading the good news, and kind of just spending days with you guys, with my husband, going to church, maybe some get readies with me. If that sounds good to you, you can go ahead and like this video and subscribe and become a part of this little family I've created. And if that's not something you're interested in, I still love you very much, and thank you for being here and being a part of my channel thus far. But from here on out, this is going to be a Christian channel for me, and to share my experiences and the ups, the downs, the in-betweens, and just be me with you guys. So I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Mwah. Bye.